All right, today is Monday, December 7th, 2020, and this is episode 44 of Pull Up the Tape. All right, I'm going to get right into it because there's so much to unravel. A really good weekend in the world of sports. The NFL had amazing games, college basketball, college football, boxing, and I'm going to get into all of that in today's episode. All right, that being said, let's get it. There's no time to waste. Let's just jump right into it. All right, so this weekend, the NFL had a couple really good games. I wouldn't say a lot. It wasn't, at this point in the season, for the most part, it's always a good team playing against a bad team, two bad teams playing against each other, and it's rarely two good teams playing against each other because, at this point in the season, everybody's really separated themselves from the rest of the pack, the contenders. You know who the contenders are. You know who the people who will be drafting early in the draft are, and X, Y, and Z. All right. So this week, there were about like 2 or 3 good games that contain actual contenders that possibly could be in the playoffs. And one of them being a very, very highly anticipated NFC West matchup between the Los Angeles Rams and the Arizona Cardinals. All right. The Rams were able to prevail with the score of 38-28, but this was a very, 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 very good game that I can't wait to unravel with you guys. All right. I want to give a shout out to our standout performer, which is Jared Goff. He had 351 yards passing, 1 touchdown, and 1 quarterback sneak. All right. So, 2 touchdowns for the day and very good game. So, Jared Goff and the offense broke out of their slump as the Rams were able to improve to a record of 8-4. And couple that with the fact that the Seahawks, I don't know how the fuck this happened, but they lost to the New York Giants. They move into a tie for first place in the NFC West with Seattle, who they already beat in head-to-head, and now they already beat earlier this season, and now they have the head-to-head tiebreaker for now. And there's about four games remaining, including two divisional competitions. The Rams are placing themselves in a very good position to win their 3rd divisional title in the past 4 years, which is crazy to think, under Sean McVay. And the complex has the power index has their chances of winning the division right now as at 58%. I don't know if it's that high, but regardless, I don't necessarily agree with that. But that's what I read on ESPN. But I personally don't agree with that. I still think Seattle is the better team, even though Seattle laid a duck yesterday, But nevertheless, let's get into the game. So the Rams had a 24-14 lead early in the fourth quarter. And it looked like they were going to pull away until Simba Walker fumbled on a punt return. The Cardinals recovered that at the LA 15-yard line at the LA 15-yard line and quickly turned that mistake into Kenyon Drake's first touchdown of the day with a 4-yard punch in, which pulled Arizona 24-21 in. All right. So on the very next possession, the Rams were able to respond, and they quickly moved the ball down the field, and then Darrell Henderson sliced up Arizona's spotty defense, and he went untouched for a 38-yard touchdown, which pushed the game to 31-21. And that, honestly, that run, as I was watching the game, was I seen it as the dagger. Like, I don't know if Arizona's going to be able to come back now because they have about like 4 or 5 minutes left, and they're down by 10. I don't know if this is it. And then props to Jared Goff again. He was extremely efficient, and honestly, he played like one of the best games I've seen him play in a long time. And he made a lot of big throws, no mistakes. Like I said, he had over 300 yards. He played very good. He honestly played very good. And this all comes on the heels of after him being publicly scrutinized by his coach. His coach Sean McVay keeps it real, keeps it 100 at all times. When he's asked questions about Jared Goff, he's going to be honest. He said Jared Goff struggled. He's been struggling for quite some time. And we need him to step up. This team is not going to go anywhere without our quarterback playing at a high level. And it's truth. See what happens when Jared Goff plays at a high level. The Rams are very hard to beat, and they have a competent defense anchored by Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey, Titus Young. They have playmakers all over the field. The Rams are a good team, and it's crazy to think that they're on the cusp of winning another NFC West championship. But hey, here it is. Here they are. Like I said, and I say this every single week. Good teams find a way to win, and all right teams find a way to lose. And all right teams and bad teams find a way to lose. Good teams find a way to win. All right teams and bad teams find a way to lose, i.e. the Jets, i.e. the Falcons, i.e. the Jaguars, i.e. the Cardinals, an all right team. So the Cardinals have lost now 3 of their last 4, and I have lost 3 straight and 4 of their past 5. All right. And once again, Kyler Murray struggled and looked inconsistent. He only completed 21 of 39 passes for 173 yards and 3 touchdowns. He also lost the fumble midway through the fourth quarter and threw a pick 6 to Troy Hill. He had two turnovers in the fourth quarter, and his pick 6 is what led to the game just being it was already out of reach when Darrell Henderson extended the game to a 10-point lead. But when they're trying to cut into that 10-point lead with a couple minutes left in the fourth, and he throws a pick 6, I don't know, to Troy Hill, and he runs it back and high steps it into the end zone. You would have thought he was Dion. Oh, I don't know about that one, man. And another thing that I want to credit the Rams the Rams win, their time of possession and their defense. All right. The Rams had a huge time of possession in this game. They kept the ball for 39 minutes while Arizona only had it for 21. That's a disparaging difference. That's a very big difference. That's a lot. That's a lot. They kept the ball for 75% of, honestly, 75% of the time they had the ball. Roughly 75, because if they're 60, they had 40. I don't know if my math was right. No, almost 75. So probably 60-something. So, and then also the only one, another unit not another unit. Obviously, there's only 2 units, offense, defense. Not only 2. There's 3 units: offense, defense, special teams. The Rams didn't really do too well in special teams because they had a fumble. But their defense stepped up big time. Not only were they able to sack Kyler Murray and disrupt him, they held him to. I don't think 173 was a season low, but it's damn near it. It's damn near kind of resemblant of his performance against the Patriots, and the Patriots had him looking. Didn't make him look effective at all. He never got comfortable. He never was able to connect receivers and find the timing. I mean, he was able to do that against the Rams a bit, but when it mattered the most, they did not let that happen. And they're among the elite defenses in the NFL, and they were able to tighten up and clamp everything. The Cardinals didn't get a first down until late in the second. The Cardinals didn't get their first down until late in the second quarter, and Kyler Murray in the second half finished 3 of 12 for 73 yards. That is terrible. That's terrible. You cannot. That's never gonna win. That's never gonna win you anything in the NFL. If you're 3 of 12 for 73 yards, again, no, that's never gonna win you anything ever. Let me run through the stats real quick again. I don't think I even actually ran through the stats, but let me run through it. So Jared Goff had 37 of 47 for 351 and 1 touchdown. And he also recorded a QB sneak. Cam Akers, 21 carries, 72 yards, 1 touchdown. Darrell Henderson, 3 carries, 49 yards, and a touchdown. Robert Woods, 10 receptions, 85 yards. Cooper Kupp, 8 receptions, 73 yards. The Rams defense gets a pick 6, so a touchdown, a pick, and they get a fumble. Kyler Murray, 21 of 39, 173 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Kenyon Drake, 10 carries for 49 yards. Chase Edmonds, 6 receptions for 28 yards. Dan Arnold, 2 receptions, 61 yards, 2 touchdowns. D Hop, 8 catches, 52 yards, and 1 touchdown. Like I said before, Cardinals are now in a 4-game fight for the playoff lives after losing to the Rams, and this is their 4th loss in the last 5 games. As of now, the Cardinals are outside the playoffs looking in, having dropped a couple games, but Arizona still. I don't know. It seems like Arizona has lost all control of their playoff fate. They're now they're gonna need some certain teams to win, certain teams to lose, and it doesn't help that next week they have to go and face a seemingly red hot Giants team. It's just crazy to think that I'm saying that the New York Giants are red hot, but hey, it is what it is. All right, so the next game I want to talk about is the Browns. Crazy thing about this is, honestly, if I would have bet money on this game, I would have lost it. I was ready to come here today and just bash Baker Mayfield. Like, oh, this dude is trash. I told you guys the Browns are pretenders. They're not good. They don't have a quality win on their schedule. They played weak teams and I am wrong. I'm not going to get to do that today. And in fact, I'm actually going to give Baker Mayfield a lot of praise, give the Browns a lot of praise, give the Browns organization a lot of praise. And yeah, I mean, they're not making me eat my words because I never actually came on YouTube and bash, I keep saying Kyler, bash Baker. But whew, man, when I tell you I was ready to go in today, man, I was ready to go in. I was ready to go in today. But let's get to it. So the Browns finally have a winning season, are going to have a winning season, which is crazy to think. Behind a first half performance unparalleled in franchise history that honestly we've never seen from a Browns quarterback ever. And we know what Browns quarterbacks are typically look like over the past 20 years. Cleveland defeated Tennessee to move to 9-3, and they're clinching their first winning season in 13 years. The Browns also took a big step by snapping the league's longest playoff drought. And this is all, like I said, all spearheaded by Baker Mayfield's performance in the first half. He broke franchise records, and honestly, he looked really, really good, like really, really good. And he's a standout performer for today's game. He had 334 passing yards, 4 touchdowns. Nick Chubb had 18 carries, 80 yards, a touchdown. Kareem Hunt, 14 carries, 33 yards. Baker, 4 carries, 5 yards. And the Browns were able to muster up 118 yards on the ground. And this is well below their average, which leads the league at 161. And why was it well below their average? Well, I mean, for the most part, they played most of this game up, so they didn't even need to run the ball and grind the clock and all that stuff, because at one point they were up 38-7. When you're up 38-7, that's when it's probably time to start running the ball. But I mean, great game by the Browns. I was honestly very, very surprised. But I'm gonna continue to get into this game. So Rashad Higgins, 6 catches, 95 yards, a touchdown. Donovan Peoples-Jones, 2 catches, 92 yards, and a touchdown. Jarvis Landry, 8 catches, 62 yards, and a touchdown. And the Browns defense was able to force this. Man, this is also a big reason why they won. The Browns defense was able to force 3 turnovers, and then they sacked Ryan Tannehill 3 times. Tennessee is at the top of the league in keeping the ball, as in like they're bottom of the list in turnovers. They don't turn the ball over often, and the Browns were able to make the Browns made Derrick Henry fumble, and they stopped him on some key possessions on 4th down. This is honestly a crazy game. But Mayfield kept the Browns from needing like I said, their top rushing attack in what was expected to be like a ugly game. Two teams with really good defenses and very strong running games, but the Browns had the best scoring half of anything I've ever seen in since I started watching football. In the 13 years of me watching football, I've been watching football since 2007. This is one of the greatest offensive performances I've seen by any team, let alone the Browns. 38 points in the first half. They were leading 38-7 at halftime, and then topping the 35 scored in Cincinnati in a half. The Browns scored 35 and a half against Cincinnati in 2004. So they beat that. So like I said, they set franchise records. But the Titans made it interesting late, outscoring the Browns 28-3. But I mean, honestly, the final score of the game isn't really indicative of how, like, the final score actually is. What was the score again? 1 second. Give me one more second. Okay, 41-35. And most people will see that and think, oh, this was probably a close game. But in actuality, it was not a close game at all. It wasn't a close game at all. Kenny Vaccaro picked up a fumble by Baker in the 4th quarter on 4th and 1 and ran it 53 yards with 48 seconds left. Ryan Tannehill hit Cam Baston for an 8-yard touchdown with 28 seconds to go. Andy Yanovich recovered the onside kick for the Browns to seal the victory, and that was pretty much it. For the most part of the game, it was a lopsided game. Like I said, 38-7 at halftime, and it's a pretty lopsided game. But hey, it is what it is. Ryan Tannehill, 29-45, 389, 3 touchdowns and interception. Derrick Henry, 15 carries, 60 yards. The Titans were only able to muster up 62 yards on the ground anyways, and that was pathetic. But it makes sense why. I mean, you fall down early like that when you're down 31 fucking points, it makes no sense to be running the ball at that point. Like, it is time to put the ball in the air. Let's start chucking this thing around and get some points, because running the ball is not gonna get us out this hole, and it's honestly it's not gonna work in your favor because you're just chewing up the clock. So once I saw that they were down a lot early, I was like, yeah, I don't know if Derrick Henry's gonna have the most effective game, and not surprised he didn't. Corey Davis had a career-high game, 11 receptions, 182 yards, a touchdown, a great touchdown, might I add, a great touchdown. Mossed somebody and then gets hit by another defender and still holds onto the ball and then flex on him. Anthony Fersker, 5 receptions, 51 yards. A.J. Brown, 4 receptions, 87 yards. Michael Pruitt, 1 reception, 22 yards, and a touchdown. The Titans came out with like little life against the Browns. Gave up 38 points in the first half. Ugly defensive performance, like atrocious. Not even ugly. Ugly is being nice. Atrocious defensive performance. And Tennessee gave up 10 conversions on third down. 10 out of 16 conversions on third down. And Tennessee is still in first place of the AFC South, thanks to their 3-1 record, 3-1 division in the record. But the Colts are also sitting at 8-4, so we'll see. We're gonna see how that shakes up. But very, very horrible defensive effort from Tennessee. Oh my God, Tennessee played god awful on defense. Terrible. Give up 38 points, and Mike. I'm honestly extremely disappointed in Mike Vrabel. Extremely disappointed. Like at this, Tennessee looks like pretenders at this point. But it's funny actually, because I remember just stating last week that what happens when teams are too reliant on one play. Like, honestly, I respect Tennessee as a team. They are very good at what they, I mean, obviously you can't get to it. Being 8-4 in the National Football League is not an easy feat or easy thing to accomplish. So the fact that they have been able to do that is a big deal. But honestly, it's no surprise that it's no surprise just knowing how football is. If you're extremely reliant on your running back to set the pace of the game and, control the tempo and stuff like that, falling down early is probably one of the worst things that can happen to a team like Tennessee. And it happened today. And we saw what happened. They didn't look like themselves. And also, it doesn't help when your defense, honestly, I don't know what the stat is, but I promise to God, if you saw a stat of teams who give up 38 points in the first half, I'm pretty sure their record is like 0 something, because it's almost impossible to win a game if you let up 38 points, which most teams score in a full game. Which not even most teams score in a full game. Most teams don't even score 38 points in a full game. When that does happen, it takes them probably like 4 quarters to do that, not a half. A half. I mean, I guess you could say they tightened up in the second quarter because they only let up 3 points, but nevertheless, it was a little too late after that. But we'll see how this playoff race is going to be very, very interesting. I can't wait to see how this shakes out. Like, I really cannot wait. And it's crazy that the Browns have a better record than the Titans and are not going to win their division. They're 3 games behind the Steelers, and yeah, it's looking like they're not going to win their division. So, I mean, it is what it is. But now, I want to get to boxing. All right, that was a very good match this weekend. Errol Spence fought against Danny Garcia in a very good match, which was Errol Spence's first fight since his life-threatening car accident. All right, I don't even want to talk about that, man. I actually didn't even know that Errol Spence ever got into a car accident. It wasn't until recently. I've always watched boxing growing up, like here and there, like really, really big fights, but I don't watch it as often as I do now. Anytime there's a fight, I watch it. I watched the undercard. I wasn't impressed, but hey, it is what it is. I watched it. Nevertheless, I want to get to this fight. Errol Spence versus Danny Garcia. Safe to say Errol Spence is still healthy. Simply put, I don't really know what else to say when it comes to that. He's still healthy. He looked very good, to be honest. Considering the situation he had found himself in, I think he looked very good. Damn, I need to stop saying A lot of people were worried about his health and that he wouldn't be the same. But like he said, he was good. His trainer said he was good. His doctor said he was good, and the people who he sparred with said they were good. But, everybody always wants to act like they're a doctor and diagnose and see for themselves, like, oh, blah, 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 this, blah, 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 that. But to get into the fight, I love how Errol Spence utilized his jab, and he established it early in the fight, like very, very early in the fight. And his jab really messed up Danny Garcia. His jab messed up Danny Garcia a lot. Like you've seen a lot of this, a lot of head rockers, a lot of it looked like he was hitting 90s. You've seen a lot of head rockers in Danny's eye getting most of the damage, and Errol Spence's jab was really messing with Danny Garcia's timing. It was messing with Danny Garcia's timing. He listened to Derek James a lot in this fight, which is his head coach. And in this fight, towards the later rounds, you could hear Derek James telling him, keep your hands up, don't play with them, because when Errol realized he was up on the card, he was a little bit more lax and wasn't taking the fight too seriously, but you could tell that he wasn't fighting with a sense of urgency like he would usually fight in a normal fight. But I mean, hey, I don't blame him when you're up that much on the cards. But I mean, that's never really the smartest thing to do, especially in professional boxing, when one punch can change the entire dynamic of the entire fight. But nevertheless, he still won. So, there's not really much to complain about. But, his corner was telling him that because, they could obviously see that Danny still had enough in the tank to land big punches. And like I said, any big punch can change the entire complexity of the match. But you can tell that, he started to take Danny, like I said, he started to take Danny lightly. But the expected ring rust was there. But nevertheless, he was able to beat Danny convincingly. He won unanimous decision. I mean, he didn't dominate him or just make him look like he didn't belong in the ring. But just coming back from what he came back from, I think that's a very, very, very great performance. To almost losing your life to fighting an elite fighter like Danny Garcia. I mean, obviously Danny Garcia is not the cream of the crop, but he's up there with, he can hold his own against championship level boxers and, not get tore up. So the fact that Errol Spence was able to beat him is really, really good. I'm excited for him. I'm just happy that he was able to get that done. Nevertheless, I mean, I look for more to come in the future. I mean, I hope this is only the beginning of his ascension again, of him getting back to where he was. I don't know the extensity of his injuries or exactly what it was, but like he said, he came in, he was healthy, he was ready to go, he wanted to fight, he wanted to prove to everybody that he still got it. He showed it. Yeah. So like I said, considering he didn't look incredible, but he looked. If you take into consideration the variables and all the external factors that existed in this fight that don't exist in most people's normal fights, he fought his ass off, fought lights out, and he has everything to be proud of. The last thing I want to talk about is Floyd Mayweather and Logan Paul. It was just announced yesterday that these two individuals would be fighting each other in February of 2020. And I want to be the first to say that that's the most idiotic shit I've ever heard. And honestly, that thing makes boxing look terrible, like terrible. I don't even understand. Like, is this really the state of boxing? You have somebody as old as Floyd Mayweather fighting a YouTuber for what? What is the point of that? If anybody knows what the point of that is, please comment this, leave a comment and let me know, because it doesn't really make sense. Like I don't even like. So at this point, if I get enough views and get big enough on YouTube, can I fight Danny Garcia? Can I fight Floyd for a milli piece? Like, because honestly, I don't see how that even makes sense. Like it's a little odd to me and awkward. Like who are the promoters? Who are the people who decided let's make this fight happen? I want to know. I would like to know who were the promoters and who said let's make this fight happen. This sounds like a great idea. That sounds like a horrible idea. It just doesn't even make sense. Why? I don't know. If anybody knows, leave a comment underneath. Let me know. This concludes episode 44. I'm really excited. We get every passing day we get closer to episode 50. 50 is going to be a really big deal because I remember when I first started this and how it looked and all the growth that I've experienced since then. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Stay blessed. Continue to prosper. Stay positive. Viral movie Favi. Rest in peace, Pop. Rest in peace, Nip. Rest in peace, Grandma, Grandpa. I do this for you guys. Viral movie, Shake the Room. Wote. How about this bitch with the wote?